Cześć, witam Was bardzo serdecznie na ogólnopolskim konwencie informatyków IT w administracji, organizowanym w Bronisławowie przez Presscom. Mamy dzisiaj możliwość porozmawiania z Andrew Shinglerem i Matthiasem Kunzem z Zimbry, którzy są razem z nami na tym konwencie. Hi guys, it's nice to be here with you today. Thank you for coming, first of all. I would like to ask you a few questions because we have you here with us,
of course,
which is a nice opportunity, really. Okay, so maybe the first thing, maybe could you give us a short introduction of about yourself? How long are you with Zimbra, and what are you actually responsible for in Zimbra?
Matthias, do you want to?
Sure, thank you. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Kasia, for having us here. It's a great pleasure to be here with you and representing Zimbra and Intalio here at the conference. And so I have been selling Zimbra now for the last 15 years in Poland, amongst other countries. And it's always a pleasure to be actually on site, to meet customers, to meet partners, and to represent Zimbra and Intalio. So thank you for giving us the opportunity to be here.
Thank you. Andrew?
Thank you for letting us attend with you today. And my background is very much supporting my colleagues like Matthias from a sales perspective. I'm in the pre-sales technical area of the business. I've been with Zimbra on and off since 2007. I've actually worked in email technology for over 20 years. So I've got a kind of wide, expansive experience of enterprise, governments, ISPs, and so on. So, in terms of the region that I cover, so obviously territories like Poland, but I also cover the whole of the EMEA region. So helping Matthias and the other channel sales team, and also the partners in terms of pursuing their opportunities and providing them with technical input into that as well.
Yeah, we appreciate that very much. I have a question for you. I don't know who would like to answer. Why is Zimbra such a good solution for government institutions?
I'll take that one. So, I mean, we're actually seeing quite a lot of interest in the last few years from government organisations. I think there's been a trend in the market generally to move towards cloud-based services. Now, that's true of enterprises, SMEs, SMBs, and so on. But what we're finding, and particularly more so now, is governments, local governments, some educational institutions like research establishments and so on, they're not so keen to move to cloud-based services. They want to retain the data within their own data centers. They're looking for data sovereignty and security around all that information because they need to stay either compliant with whatever their government rules are and so on. So we're seeing a lot of interest from governments, I say central and local governments, to actually deploy systems in their own data centers on premises. And I think that trend is just, if anything, it's growing, it's continuing.
So you can see that.
I mean, depending on the territory and exactly where you are, but there is this desire, particularly in terms of not necessarily moving to cloud-based services. I mean, even if they want to go cloud, sometimes they look at locally based cloud providers, which again, Zimbra, can meet that market as well. So that's the main driver, and we're seeing a lot of that interest there.
You can see that too. Yeah. Thank you, Andrew. Now a question for Matthias. How would you describe Zimbra in a few words?
Zimbra is a collaboration server solution, and it is a really good alternative, especially for government organizations who want to be sure and make sure that their data is safe and secure. And whether you have it hosted or whether you have it as a hybrid solution or on your own premise, the main or the most important here is that your data is safe and secure, and you can also have a look at the code and you can be sure that that you're happy with what you are using. So this is for me and for most of our customers, especially government customers, what differentiates Zimbra to other mail solutions.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. And the next question, maybe Andrew, where are we now with Zimbra solution regarding the product roadmap?
So, the last, I'd say, 12 months, we've been doing a lot of work actually to bring some of the core components of the Zimbra solution back into our own organisation. So there are certain components like the backup and recovery, the ActiveSync mobile, and some of the kind of hierarchical storage management capabilities, which were developed under an OEM relationship. Now, in terms of us being able to move forward, particularly from a roadmap perspective, we see that it was necessary really to sort of bring that code and that development process back internally into Synacor, because it then means that we can, we have much more control over how we move forward. And also just from a support perspective, having, engineers having direct access to the code from a support and day-to-day support makes it a lot easier. But certainly in terms of where we want to go and what we want to do, we're looking at, in terms of a lot of the development work that we're doing is actually more around containerization and so on. So we saw that to be able to fully embrace that and move forward with that as a sort of a potential roadmap for Zimbra, bringing those back inside our own fold and the engineering teams was appropriate. So
I think these are very important words from you. Thank you. The next question, what are the most distinguishing features of Zimbra in comparison to other solutions like Microsoft 365, for example?
Yeah, we get the, obviously the main players out there, particularly the cloud players like 365, Google Workspace, they have a very rich, broad set of functionality. What Zimbra is addressing is giving those same core capabilities. We can't say that we've got an extensive product portfolio that matches Microsoft or, for that matter, Google. But in terms of what we offer in terms of those core functionalities, so email, calendaring, address books, chat and video services, document sharing and editing, they're the kind of core things that people want. And that's what we're addressing with Zimbra, but also giving our customers the ability, let's say, particularly in the government space or where security and data sovereignty is important, the ability to deploy that as an on-prem solution that they can offer to their end users. So they're giving them equivalent capability, but at the same time they're protecting the data inside their own data centers and within their own country. Google is only a cloud-based service, so you have no option there. Microsoft, they have 365, but they have Exchange as well. But we're seeing, even Microsoft are kind of they're keen to move their Exchange users onto 365, so they're not necessarily making it commercially attractive from the perspective of licensing. So, Zimbra very much kind of fills that gap where people, organizations still do want an on-prem solution.
Thank you for that. I have one more question, maybe a few more. What makes Zimbra the third most popular collaboration solution in the world? How would you describe it?
I think aside from the things that we've already discussed, I think our roots are very much in open source, and that's where we've come from. We're still, we still provide open source code to Zimbra, and I think when we speak to people that either use the licensed version of Zimbra or the open source version of Zimbra, they all say it's a very fully functional, capable platform. It is an enterprise grade level system, and we're often in competitive situations where we're competing with other vendors, particularly not where an organisation is not necessarily looking for the main players, either Microsoft or Google. And the comment that comes back very often from these customers is that when we look at the market, the only realistic option out there is Zimbra. Yeah. There are other players in the market, but they never seem to match up in terms of features and functionality. So I think that combination of open source and the combination of capability and enterprise level functionality really sort of brings it to the fore.
Okay, thank you. Next question, you mentioned open source, but the question is Zimbra still open source?
We get that. We've changed our strategy over the last 2 or 3 years, actually. So we still develop the open source code, and we still make that publicly available. You know, we did in 8.8.15, we did in 9, and we do now in 10. So in version 10, there's open source code publicly available. The thing that we've changed really is how we deliver that. So in the past, we've delivered the binaries, so we build the binaries, we provide the patches and so on. Which, I mean, you know, is a good strategy, but we have to be cognizant of our own resources. So we feel that, you know, now if people really want the open source, that is still there and available for them, but you know, they can still build the binaries, they can create their own delivery systems for it. What we're not doing is essentially doing that process. So yeah, I mean, it's still at its core, it's open source, and that's not going to change. I mean, there's no desire to change the fact that, you know, we build everything from the open source code.
Thank you for that, because I think it was a very important question for many users. Okay. At the end, I would like to ask you about maybe a few words about your cooperation with Intalio.
Well, certainly my cooperation with you guys has been, it's been very fruitful for us as well. So, and it's always a pleasure to come and meet you in person, and also, be a kind of almost like an extended part of your organisation, because, at the end of the day, we sell through a channel model and through our partners. So we're only successful if you're successful. So, that's how I see it working. I don't know, Matthias.
Oh, yes.
You probably have a lot of...
No, I totally echo that. So it's always a pleasure to work with you, especially because my Polish is very limited. Dziękuję is the only word I can say, and dzień dobry, that's it. So, and it's we have a very, very close relationship, which I like. And what is also very important for me is to have a partner that I can rely on in terms of delivering the services as well, delivering implementation, delivering migration, and that's really what we need. I would be very happy to have a partner like Intalio in every country. Then nice. My life would be very, very easy. So thank you. Thank you again for having us.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the nice words, and thank you for being here with us. I hope we'll see soon on the next conference, maybe this year. Yeah, so thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.